Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Streaming Enderman here, back again with another video. And I am very excited for this video. This, right here, is a Grohmann Slimline. Now, quick bit of backstory on this brand for those who have not heard of it. Grohmann is a Canadian brand. Yes, that's quite uncommon for knives. But Grohmann's been making very high-quality knives for quite a few years. You can see it says superior handcrafted quality since 1957. Originally, the original founder of Grohmann came from Czechoslovakia, moved to Canada, and started making knives. Now, this brand has probably gone unnoticed for a lot of people who live outside of Canada. And if you know about Grohmann, you'll probably only know about maybe one or two knives, which would be the D.H. Russell belt knife, which is a very popular model, but not many people have probably seen their folders. And if you've been a longer time viewer of the channel, you've probably seen this knife before. And I did a review on this quite a while ago. This is the D.H. Russell Mini Lock Blade. And I had quite a few positive things to say about this knife. It's a little weird, but it's a very good user. This, however, isn't as weird. In fact, it's quite the traditional design. So, don't want to drop that. Just before we take a look at the specs of it, here's the box it came in. Just has their logo up there, the original Canadian-made D.H. Russell Grohmann belt knife, Pictou, Nova Scotia, Canada. There's their website. And then inside you get your maintenance sheet and your warranty card. So, quite interesting, but very simple packaging. Just a hard cardboard box. But the knife itself, now this has a serpentine handle shape. This is known as a dog leg, I believe. Either that or just simply a serpentine. But whatever name you wish to call it, it's a very comfortable handle. You can see we've got nickel silver bolsters on both ends of the knife. We've got nickel silver pins, I believe. Some very nicely polished liners, which I believe are also nickel silver. And if they're not nickel, I believe then they're brass. But they're very, very shiny. Don't know if the camera's picking that up. There we go. You can see this back is incredibly nice. No gapping whatsoever. That's something that I've noticed. These knives, especially this one, I only own two Grohmann knives. This and the Mini D.H. Russell lock knife. I had a few complaints about this knife. I have virtually no complaints about this. And the things that I could complain about are so minor. They aren't even, you can't even consider them complaints. But in the meantime, I've got a stainless steel back spring. Looks very nice, nice mirror polish. No gapping whatsoever. Let's see if you can pick that up. I guess there's a very, very, very tiny little gap right there. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of gapping here, but nothing major at all. I mean, here it is next to an Arthur Wright Senator. You can see, sure, there are a couple minor little gaps here and there, but still they're very cleanly made. Even on the back. Spring cutoff is pretty good. Blade centering, little off to the left, but very near perfect. Transitions between the bolsters and the covers are really good. The pins are very flush. They don't stick up. Very well sanded. The handles here are made of rosewood. Very nice rosewood. Got a nice grain pattern in it. thing I like about rosewood is, while it is a little overused by a lot of knife manufacturers, you're never going to have two pieces that are exactly the same. Because here, this is an Arthur Wright Senator. This is a darker brown kind of chocolate color. Well, this one's a bit more of a dark red maroon. And this is rosewood. On both knives, this is rosewood. So you can see the pieces are quite different. Heck, even on another Grohmann, you can see this is also rosewood, but this one's much lighter. And it has these kind of white streaks in it. This one doesn't really have. So with it being a natural handle material, you're always going to get slight differences. But very, very pretty. Very well done. Love the grain. And I've been putting it off for too long. Let's take a look at the blade. Has a nail nick, but of course you can just pinch it open. And no half stops. Now, here comes my first complaint, and it's not even that big of a deal. The spring on this is not that strong. This is a very, I suppose, weak spring. It's not very stiff. Even this knife isn't very stiff, but it's still probably better in that aspect. But I'd say this marks about maybe a 5, maybe a 4 even. I'd say about a 5. But even so, it still has a nice snap when it opens and when it closes. So it's not a nail breaker by any means, but at the same time, it's not bad. I'm not complaining about it. It's actually still a perfectly safe knife to use. It's not the kind of knife that you'd be super scared about closing on you. And that is because of the choil that's right under here. This little unsharpened bit. You can put your finger under here, and you can choke up with all 4 fingers. And sure, the blade might move a little, but it's not going to close on you because, well, your finger's in the way. So that is a helpful thing. I really like it when slip joints do that. It makes it a bit of a safer knife to use as opposed to holding it here where, yeah, it could close. But aside from that, it's a very comfortable knife. I like the serpentine shape. This is a similar shape with GEC number 38s, Lion Steel Jack. Both knives, by the way, are knives I'm kind of looking into at the moment. But generally, this is a very comfortable handle. You can see the more bulbous part of the handle is up here, and it gets a bit skinnier at the back. And yet, it's very, very comfortable. Again, really like the clip point blade. I'm not a huge fan of aggressive clip points, if this makes any sense. For example, Taylor's Eyewitness Barlow's. I love them to death. But I don't love the blade shape as much because there's too much dip in the blade. This, however, personally I like. This is what I would say is the ideal clip point for me. Another interesting thing, not a bad thing, but something interesting is that the tang stamp is upside down. You can see it's very, very clear. Grohmann, Pictown, Nova Scotia, Canada. And on this side it just says stainless. Now, this might not seem weird. However, let me just take my Arthur Wright here. You can see that the tang stamp is the other way around. So when you look, on the left, the Arthur Wright tang stamp is facing this way. However, on the Grohmann, it's the other way. Again, this isn't a flaw. It's not a mistake. This is part of how they're made. In fact, my other Grohmann is the same. So just a little unique thing about them. Not a bad thing, by no means, but at the same time, just something to keep in mind. If you get that and you're worried you may have gotten a fake or it was some defective model, no, that's how they're made. So do not worry about that if you get a Grohmann with the tang stamp reversed. But in the meantime, I think that this is a great, small, everyday carry knife. It's very, very friendly in its design. It's not the kind of knife where if you pull it out, people are going to shriek and run away as fast as they can because they think you're going to kill them. This is a very friendly little knife. It's the kind of thing that if you pull it out, someone's not going to say, "Oh, better keep an eye on him. You don't know what he might do." They're going to look at you and think, "Oh, that's kind of nice. My grandpa had one of those." And I think that with the combination of the small size, the slip joint action, and the wood for the scales, it's just going to kind of soothe tensions, because a lot of people are scared of knives unnecessarily. This isn't the kind of knife that should scare people all that much. In fact, all three knives I have here should be the kind of knives that wouldn't scare people all that much. You could argue that this one would because it has a lock, but even then, it's still a pretty small size, and it doesn't look particularly murdery. So, it is what it is. Dimensions on this. You might be wondering, how big is this? Is it UK legal? Is it something I can bring with me to work? Well, I am going to answer that. I'm going to do a live measurement here. Let's just have a look. So we're looking at about 6 3/4 inches open and about 3 inches blade length, just under, and that's including the unsharpened bit. If you're just counting sharpened, that's about 2 and just a little over 2.5. So this is a UK legal knife. But very good overall. I would recommend anyone a Grohmann knife. I think that they're excellent quality. The steel may be a little bit old. It's AUS 6, so not the greatest steel. It's not M390, but by all means, very traditional, very classic. Lovely, lovely knife. I got this directly from Grohmann's website. If you want one for your very own, just go to gknives.com, and you can buy one for your very own. Of course, one thing I would like to point out, this was a normal production knife. However, they do sell seconds, and they aren't terrible knives with glaring flaws like horrible gapping or terrible blade wobble. The reason they put them on as seconds would be little tiny dents or chips in the wood. You can hardly even notice them. They're really not enough to warrant being considered seconds, but they want to make sure you're getting the best quality. So for that reason, they're 50% off, which is a huge save for just a tiny scratch in the wood. So I highly recommend you, if you want one of these, either go and buy one new like I did, or go to the clearance section and check out a second. I don't think you'll regret it. But yeah, very slim, sleek, nice size, nice look. Overall, just a really nice knife, and I'd recommend them to anyone. So, thank you for watching. This has been the Grohmann Slimline single blade knife in rosewood, and this is the Streaming Enderman, as always, signing off. Goodbye.